I'm Carol. Come on in. I'm Carol, and I'm American. I come from California originally, and I now live in the Netherlands for 20 years. And I moved here for love, and I've stayed for love. And I also happen to be deaf, which makes learning Dutch very difficult. I'm 60 and I love it. And I am a photographer, writer. I love to cook and bake, and keen on tennis and yoga and Pilates, which I call yoga lattes. And so, yeah, that's me. Great aunt, my sister, and mom and dad, that was their anniversary. And that was the house I grew up in. My dad used to sit with pans and like bang on him. And I would be a baby and I just wasn't turning, or I turned very late. But he did get a sound down that I did react to, and that was he clapped and he would tighten his so it would be deep. That's like a bass sound. So whenever he did that, I would always look, and that kind of became a sound I associated with him. My mom didn't do it. That was my high school, graduation, senior ball, bad haircut. This kind of went on. I went to public school and I was mainstream. That was also apparently very important to my parents, that I would not be pulled out and put into a special school. And so I didn't learn sign language. I learned lip reading. And mom always said, you have a gift. You have a gift, and you need to discover what it is. And her take on it was, well, God has taken something from you. And I'm like, well, what? I had no clue. She didn't say. But you have another something, so you work to find out what that is. Interview, everything went great. And I was admitted on one condition: I had to get hearing aids. And I was like, but why? And then this was Harvard Yard. And mom in a ring. And that was our governor, Dukakis. And he did a speech. And at this year, every year, like the medical school does some sort of release balloons or what have you, they release condoms because it was a huge HIV thing. It was crazy. Well, yeah, getting there was a funny road. I think it was funny, but my parents were not amused. We graduated high school, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And so with my friends, we went to junior college right there in the neighborhood. And I was taking the general thing. And I just it wasn't for me. And my sister was a career counselor at a high school. So they called her in. And she said, how about night school? Go to night school. And oh, okay, I could look into that. So that's exactly what I did. I got a job teaching in a Montessori school, and at night I took classes in childcare and psychology. And I did that, and then for a couple of years, and I knew I wanted to go back to school, but I was still trying to figure out. And by then my sister had moved with her husband to Boston, Cambridge. And they had a little baby boy, and she said, come for the summer. So I went for the summer, and I loved it. I loved Cambridge. He and I shared upstairs, up here. We lived together for 9 months, and then Bad style, but Cleveland. Oh my God, putting together a crib is not as easy as you think it is. Uh, I had a wall phone and I could hear it. And my nephew, I could hear him. Teaching, I could hear. And I started missing things. I could tell it sounded like you're underwater and you're hearing these sounds. That's what it sounds like for me. And I'm very, very particular with kids. I do not like to ask, I'm sorry, what did you say? More than twice. Is automatically they think they've done something wrong. And they haven't, I'm just not hearing them. But they're way too young to understand that. So, yeah, sound. And also volume, music. I love music. I would have to crank it even more, and it would just be, okay, the car is vibrating, or the room is vibrating, or something. Yeah, oh my God, this is really loud. If I'm in a restaurant or a bar, the surround sound actually does not bother me, and I can focus in on a person. That's easy. But I still was getting at that time their voice. And at that time, I could still use the phone myself. And I had a telephone switch, and I could talk to mom and dad. Everything was fine. Funny selection. So, but no, it started to be different. And at classes, I could tell I was missing some of the notes. But my professors were really great. Though, so I went and I had hearing tests, and they said, pretty much it's going to be, you're going to wake up one morning and you won't hear it all.
Awful.
And I thought, wow, okay, what's that going to be like? And I was in, at that point, I was in my 4th year. I was going to be graduating. And I immediately, they said, oh, you should get a note taker. Oh, you should do this. And I'm finishing on my own steam. And I have no idea why I was so stubborn about it. Pride, whatever. I got this. And I made the decision to graduate without any assistive devices or anything.
$10 for a change back.
Oh my God! Here, oh, she did it! Whoa!
I decided to go after I graduated to Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C., and study sign language and American Sign. And when I got there, that was fantastic. I was there for 8 weeks, and it was an intense program. You are not allowed to speak. I had to take my hearing aids off, and for 8 weeks, I couldn't wear them. And I didn't like being different. But the irony was, I had a natural knack for learning sign language. They would do their sign, and I knew what they were saying, and I could lip read them. One misconception is that every deaf person can lip read, and that's not true. Not true at all. And it's a skill it's a muscle. It's a skill, and then you treat it like a muscle and you work it. But it's such a different culture. Such a different culture. And that was a big eye-opening experience for me. I only feel half alive. I need the blend. I really like the blend. I've long time said I have one foot in a hearing world and one foot in the deaf. and completely in the hearing, I can be left out because I don't get everything. And especially if somebody doesn't realize I'm deaf, or worse, doesn't believe me. Oh, but you speak. I know real deaf people. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't like hearing it. And it depends on who the person is. Fortunately, as we get older, we get smarter, wiser, and calmer about things, usually. It's the training that I had is both a blessing and a curse. And someone so often, and I have it here, oh, but I wear hearing aids too. I'm deaf too. And I don't walk around with my audiogram to say, you know, look, I'm this kind of deaf, because I speak so well. And yeah, that is hard. It is hard. If somebody is not believing me, who's Carol? She lives, Carol is someone who is really good at living in two different worlds. I'm American and I'm Dutch. I'm deaf and I'm not so hearing. But I straddle, I ride, I sit on the fence, and I've got comfortably 1 foot in each. And who is Carol? Yeah, she's really comfortable in her own skin. She enjoys life. Complete acceptance of who I am. And most fitting for what this interview has actually been all about, one of my dearies said, how is it that my only deaf friend hears and listens to me the best?